Welcome to our fifth session of your introduction to hristotherapy. As a mental wellness discipline, hristotherapy provides a framework for understanding both the factors that contribute to inner conflict and the processes that restore balance. While psychotherapy also pursues balance, it adopts a medical model. An unbalanced mind is sick. Hristotherapy, conversely, puts forward a positive goal. Balanced personalities align feelings with behaviors to support social cohesion. Hristotherapy also accepts the tension between science and spirituality. Science describes the behavior of things that lack choice. Throw a ball in the air and it will follow a predictable path. Buy a lady flowers and, well, you may or may not get what you expect. That is the essence of spirituality, the negotiation of boundaries between I and we. For this reason, hristotherapy does not use surveys and assessments to organize therapy. If every person is unique, even more so are our combinations with each other. In the end, we have to figure out what works for us. Hristotherapy rather helps us to describe and moderate the forces at play in our minds. This is known as psychodynamics. You may be familiar with other psychodynamic models. Freud held that all psychosis originates from sexual tension. The Eriksons focused on social crisis. Adler held that conflicted minds are created when authorities project expectations on subordinates whose talents may lie elsewhere. We could compare these theories, but the immediate conclusion is that the mind is complicated. One of the gifts given to the therapist is an odd appreciation for its resilience and creativity. Our most satisfying sessions leave the client eager to explore the possibilities that lie within them. They embark upon a journey of personal growth. In navigating those waters, the explorer needs a chart, not a detailed map of the brain, but a model of the forces at play within it. This is our theory of mind. So, what is a theory of mind? From our introduction, you could expect that it describes the forces at play in the mind. But for whom? Well, it doesn't help the client if the therapist knows why the client is conflicted. Only the client can change their mind. A theory of mind, then, must be a common sense way of looking at the mind that almost anyone can understand. The theory should also align itself with our therapeutic goals, liberating the client for personal growth. A natural way to convey the potential for growth is to chart the mind's development from infancy to maturity. When we understand how much has already been learned, the obstacles before us take on lesser dimensions. From our study of learning, we know that the greatest of those obstacles are hardened expectations concerning our place in the world. These beliefs blind us to our natural potential. They form, however, for our own protection through confrontation with powerful disruptive forces. The theory of mind should reveal this dynamic of inner conflict while offering a model of maturity that allows the client to lean into resilience and creative resolution of social conflict. Within this model of growth are the factors that guide our therapeutic priorities. At some point during the recitation of the theory of mind, the client should think, aha, that is why. That response guides the next step of our psychoeducation. The psychology of panic, stages of development, sociability, and nurturance. Sociability and nurturance, vertical and horizontal integration of the personality, and more. Introduction of these topics should follow naturally from the theory of mind. The therapist always begins, as we discussed last time. Without further comment, we will walk through the theory of mind. You will be provided with this presentation and are advised to adapt the narrative to your own style. Some of the slides are optional. delving deeply into aspects of personal growth that may not be top of mind for the client in the first session. These are identified in the narration. When the topic comes up in therapy, you can introduce them in the context of a review of the entire theory. As the client integrates their personality, their aha moments will change, each time extending the boundaries for collaboration with the subconscious. So speaking as though to the client. To help us prioritize our work together, we need to have a common starting point. Let us call this our theory of mind. Imagine that this circle is the mind of a friend. To the left is the right side of the face. At the bottom are the most primitive parts of the brain that manage our survival. When you were born, your mind was set up to learn and explore. When you found something unpleasant, an ancient part of your mind started the panic response. Your mother would step in and take care of your needs, cuddling and soothing you so that you returned to homeostasis, the body state best suited for exploring and learning. As you grew older, you adopted more active behaviors when confronted with a threat. Fight is natural when we think that we are stronger than the threat. As an infant, the irritation would be pushed away. Flight is chosen when the threat is stronger. What we do not do is argue with the threat. To help us organize our likes and dislikes, our mind gives us two strong emotions, fear and euphoria. Fear drives us away from danger. Euphoria builds friendships. We need them both. We cannot be the child that tastes the frosting on every cupcake, looking for the perfect one. Nor can we be the child that hides under the bed when the guests come. Our parents are responsible for teaching us to keep them in balance. How do we know when we are in balance? Well, we confront risk in the company of people that protect us. We are confident that we won't get hurt, but our minds are fully engaged. In other words, we play. At first, we do not have many choices. Home is the way parents make it. We do know what we like, that is the green plus signs, and do not like the red minus signs. We try to adapt so that we survive and get more of what we like. Adventurous children expect to find good things and are spontaneous. Protective children feel the need to plan ahead and are analytical. Then comes school. We must learn to get by without our parents. Going out into the world is a risky thing, so we hedge our bets. We keep our knowns and behaviors behind a barrier called the critical mind. Under the critical mind is our subconscious that manages our well-being. Naturally, most of our mind power, at least 90%, is devoted to that goal. The conscious mind contains our developing identity, the I that attempts to figure out who we want to be in the world. That is only 10% of our mind. In this new mind, we do not immediately internalize threats. Rather, they are held in the critical mind to be considered when we are asleep. An exception is made for immediate physical danger. Then the subconscious pushes the conscious mind out of the way, putting us into a state called trance, in which all of our personal resources are available to secure our survival. During therapy, we will activate the trance state gently, uniting your mind for personal growth and change. Here's an optional slide. Once the critical mind is in place, memories go into a temporary store during the day. As we fall asleep, they are passed down to the subconscious. During dreams, we try to adjust our behaviors to match our new knowns. When the new behaviors conflict with prior survival strategies, we resist change. Second optional slide. Of course, many of our survival behaviors are acquired during childhood, before we have much control over the world. How does the subconscious release those limiting expectations? This occurs in the dreams just before waking. The subconscious will remind us of the circumstances that drove our past behaviors. This might be a memory of eating cookies with grandma, or of being rescued from a snarling dog. If the conscious mind does not raise strong emotions, the subconscious releases those memories, freeing us to evolve new behaviors. Then in adolescence, the second great biological drive turns on: procreation. This arises from deep within the primitive mind, creating emotions that unbalance our priorities. Unfortunately, this happens after the mind is divided in two. We struggle to reconcile social priorities for romance with the surging passions within. Because the subconscious is so powerful, in fact, it pushes its way forward when it finds what it wants. If an auto accident is a direct route to trance, so is falling in love. Sex is sweet and delirious in that state because our physical sensations are unfiltered. Of course, it does not last. We make mistakes, hurting ourselves and others. The two parts of the mind can turn against each other, hardening the barrier of the critical mind and further impeding our ability to learn and grow. Romance is even harder because in pairing we intuitively seek a balanced mind. Protectors pair with adventurers and vice versa. Unfortunately, protectors tend to be out of touch with their bodies, while adventurers are sensually indulgent. This sexual incompatibility builds frustration that can threaten our relationships. Considering the challenges created by a divided mind, we should seek to dissolve our inner barrier. That opportunity begins when we attain independence from our parents. Unfortunately, the competing demands of lovers, friends, employers, and government pull us in different directions, creating new sources of internal conflict. An answer arises only when we shift our focus away from what we do and feel and towards who we are. The mature personality negotiates moral expectations in terms of virtues and vices. Virtues build social cohesion that vices dissolve. We need both virtues and vices. At times, we must allow ourselves to say, "Look, you lot, take care of yourselves. I'm going for a walk on the beach." In the thinking mind, discernment born of experience protects us from predators. Our priorities honor our dignity and integrity. Dignity conserves our physical resources for productive action. Integrity guides us away from choices that compromise our values, leaving a mess to clean up later. This is easiest naturally when we commit to a supportive community. In that embrace, we experience life with all the immediacy and vivacity of childhood. Therapy is the first step to inner wholeness. In trance, we create a secure environment in which the critical mind can release its grip on the subconscious. The conscious mind expresses its ambitions. The subconscious mind considers the cost. Together, the two parts of the mind define new compacts, building confidence and trust that nurtures inner harmony. In overcoming the challenges that brought you to therapy, in fact, you will master skills that you will draw upon for the rest of your life. Are you ready to begin? Very good. So just to summarize the primary points from today's lecture. The theory of mind prepares the client to confront the mental forces that oppose personal growth. Hristotherapy holds that the division of the mind is a temporary waypoint on the road to maturity. Transactive therapy in general allows the adult mind to soften and pierce the barrier of the critical mind, facilitating eventual reunification. And the skills the client gains in therapy will be employed throughout life as they discover inner wholeness and social acceptance. Our theory of mind ended on a note that may be familiar to subscribers of various forms of mysticism, including Buddhism. Psychology has become fascinated with mindfulness practices. Cognitive behavioral therapy, acceptance and commitment therapy, mindsight, and other disciplines scratch at the surface of the Buddhist teachings. All these therapies and meditation in general suffer from the limitation that they linearize awareness. This is convenient to the analytical mind, but in fact, the brain is a parallel processing device. We see, feel, move, and speak simultaneously. It is only in trance that the barrier of self-consciousness is pulled away to allow us to respond directly and immediately to all of our experience. Dropping directly into the flood of experience can be overwhelming. We want to move towards situations that strengthen our personality and away from experiences that disorganize it. Clients seeking our aid recognize, even if only intuitively, that they struggle with that discernment. In shifting the dialogue to morality, we encourage them to articulate their vices and virtues. Rather than prescribing their journey, we grant them the authority to use their experience as their guru. See you next time.